Hey guys, you're watching Boogie Travels, and today we've traveled to Branson, Missouri for this place. This is the world's largest toy museum, or at least that's what they call themselves. So let's go in and check it out. So I just paid for my ticket, and now they've sent me around the outside to head over to this building, which is part of the collection. Believe it or not, this entire collection takes up several buildings, or several floors on two different buildings. So yeah, now I'm beginning to believe it's the world's largest toy collection. Taking a look at these miniature trains, and I know there's going to be plenty of fans of these out there. I've always been obsessed with the miniature collections that people make. Always wanted to do like a Christmas catalog or the Christmas miniature sets. But no matter what you built, it would never look as good as this.
Most of it started with those.
Taking another look at this layout, I'm absolutely stunned at the detail. If you played like a modern role-playing game, you could play miniatures right here. And this train yard would be really cool. And detailing on this little city strip, not that different other than the train yard. Not that different from some of the cities we've visited on this channel already, including downtown Branson. A lot of trains on display down here, which makes a lot of sense because some people take this hobby very, very seriously. Trains have always been a really magnificent thing to me. I've always been in awe with them, so I get it. I really do. So they're a fairly nice collection. Oh, and look who it is. It's our good friend Zoltar. Hey Zoltar, I think I have a buck for you.
Zoltar the Gypsy at your service. Today is your lucky day, my friend, for I have a fortune especially for you.
Good.
Listen closely. Sometimes you can tell a wise person not only by what he says, but also by what he doesn't say. Remember, it is much better to say little than to say too much and regret it later. Give Zoltar your treasure. I have much wisdom to share with you.
No, Zoltar, you've already got $1. At least I got a fortune this time, though. At least I got something good. Tons more toys here. Some of the stuff kind of bizarre. There's miniature sewing machines here. But this Ronald McDonald. Oh my gosh, Ronald McDonald, you are terrifying. This is really bizarre to me, but I guess it kind of makes sense. This is a massive collection of miniature sewing machines dating back what's got to be at least almost 100 years. But I guess there was a purpose for this. Maybe this is something little girls were into at one point. I'm not here to judge. Now, I think we all had little plastic army men at some point, but did you ever own these? Ever seen these before? Army ants. Seems like a really good idea, though. This display is just kind of bizarre. It's a massive collection of different toys, but you can see all of these different teddy bears. And just kind of a pile. I feel like not a lot of rhyme nor reason to this display, but I like it. Very old-timey feeling. And then not a lot of things on this shelf I would define as a toy. A lot of hair care, razor blades, pipes. Bizarre. Once again, many, many more miniatures, including a lot of Christmas stuff, and these are all Christmas teddy bear themes. I love it. This is campy and kitschy, but cool. I absolutely love these. This is a really cool collection. I mean, teddy bears are definitely not as popular as they used to be, but they were quite popular at one point. What a tremendous collection of something we just don't really see in toy stores or Walmart anymore. I think the iPad is the new teddy bear. And of course, let's not forget that Coca-Cola at some point did co-opt the polar bear as one of their mascots. There's a massive collection of Coca-Cola bears. M&M stuff as well. I always loved the mascot polar bear. I like that better than them trying to co-opt Santa Claus, if I'm being honest. Now, if you've been a fan of this channel, you'll have seen the Matchbox Museum video. But here they have a massive collection of Hot Wheels. The competitor to that, I mean, they are all still in their packaging. Just a huge number of Hot Wheels, and yep, they have some Matchbox as well. Not quite as big as the Matchbox Museum's collection, but still pretty impressive. Another collectible that was very, very popular for a long time, not so much anymore. Still available though in stores for people who want one, and that's Pez dispensers. If you've ever had a Pez, you'll probably remember why they don't really stay in style. They're not a particularly good candy, but the dispensers are very cool. Another toy that we don't seem to see a lot of anymore, and I don't mean Roy Rogers because most of you probably won't know who Roy Rogers is. And I'm talking about the Daisy BB gun. The Christmas Story style thing. I didn't like saying that word on YouTube because you never know, but Roy Rogers, very cool concept, but I had a BB gun growing up, and I'm curious if you guys did. If you did, let me know in the comments section below. I feel like most modern day kids probably never got one of these. They are certainly still making them though, because here's a pink lever action Daisy from 1998. This crazy one there. If you've had one, I'm willing to bet if you had one in the last 20 years or so, they probably have it here somewhere. Careful, kid. You'll shoot your eye out. If you're watching this on YouTube, I'm willing to bet that this is probably before your time, but I'll be honest, it was before my time as well. Have you ever heard a reference to Howdy Doody? Well, there he is in the flesh, or I should say, in the wood, or maybe plastic. Then, of course, there's the classic Red Ryder BB gun, as made famous in the movie A Christmas Story. That is a heck of a gun. Now, of course, we had Legos when I was growing up. We also had these, and I can't imagine, in retrospect, what the draw was, but these are Lincoln logs. Lincoln, not linking, but Lincoln, but I think it's a double meaning. But yeah, you could build little log cabins like this, and pretty much not much else. I don't know why these are popular, but cool to see them here. Another piece of crazy nostalgia here for me. These 25-cent riding horses. You normally get 2 or 3 minutes on one of these for your 25 cents. And they were out in front of pretty much every grocery store in the nation before arcade games were. Way to keep your kid busy for 3 minutes or so for only the price of a quarter. Here's a collectible I just don't see kids these days getting into, but these are the presidents of the United States in miniature form. All that could be collected. A ton of little political buttons as well. I'm seeing Ike, Nixon, Reagan. Pretty crazy stuff. Then these miniatures, well, I won't say much about them. But it is interesting that this was something that we commercialized and turned into, I don't know, fun. Just kind of fairly unusual. Not something I think we would see today. Another character that I feel has kind of just been lost to the wayside, but glad to see him represented here. And that's, of course, Popeye. Still, to me, I know a lot of people disliked it. I loved it. The Robin Williams Popeye movie, I thought was absolutely fantastic. I'm gonna go watch it again on Netflix. Oh my gosh. I'm home. Yay! Look at this absolutely massive collection of Star Wars toys and figures. If there was ever a figure you had, I got a feeling they might have it here. If there was ever a figure you wanted, I have a feeling they might have it here. This collection is massive. There's the Rancor, Jabba the Hutt, My nickname in high school, for those of you who didn't know that. Wow. The giant Walker toy. Sticker's still on it. Man. What a collection. It just keeps going. Here are the... Wow, this Star Wars trading card game. I played this in the 90s. I still have some of those cards. I'm sure none of them were particularly valuable because it wasn't a particularly great game, but it just keeps going and going. No, when we hit the bad stuff, there's Jar Jar. There's still more good stuff on this shelf. Not you, Jar Jar. Star Trek. Also represented here, these very large figures. And a few of their toys in the room as well. Dating all the way up to, say, Deep Space Nine. More toys, some from my generation and some from much earlier. It's Buck Rogers. But also Independence Day. Those seem to be ID4 toys, which I think is the remake. Over here, some toys from Aliens and Predators. Even X-Files toys. I still have in my collection the Barbie and Ken version of Mulder and Scully, including the recalled one that had too long a hair on Mulder. I have that in my collection. Another forgotten product of a bygone era. Raggedy Ann and Andy. They were very, very popular at one point, spawning hundreds of toys, but I doubt very many people remember them today. I barely remember them. They were pretty much gone by the time I was around. Now, I know at one point puppets and marionettes were very, very popular with kids. You'd see them on television, so you would want to have them yourself. I know Howdy Doody was a very popular figure as well, but really it's not something I think you would see kids that interested in these days. But taking a look at this massive collection really does make you wish for that kind of creative time. I mean, a kid can do the same thing now on an iPad with an animation studio, but something about the puppeteering art that I just feel is lost, especially with the lack of Jim Henson. Another really cool collection of just something that I've almost completely forgotten, and that is the American California Raisins. This is such a weird mascot for such a weird food, and to think that these guys caught on enough to have so many different toys and collectibles made about them. Really bizarre. Yeah, that's marketing gone awry back in the 80s and 90s. So this section of the museum is called Growing Up in the 1950s. It's got some displays of stuff that you might find, either this scene, which is clearly meant to be an attic, storage attic where a kid might play, to this, which looks very similar to a kid's room of my youth, of one of the well-to-do kids in the neighborhood. A huge collection of toys, musical instruments, stuffed animals, a chalkboard on the wall. Wow. Really brings you back. Another example of a nursery and some of the items you might see in it. Little tiny toys for riding and oh, what are those little mechanical springy horses? I think I had one of those when I was a kid. Maybe that one's a little bit different, but it does make me think of that. And yet another child's bedroom. This one almost has a bit of a creepy feel to it for some reason. I'm not sure exactly why. But definitely a nursery. Definitely old school. Walking over to the third building now, and I have to say, I'm fairly surprised that a lot of the toys that were in that building are much, much older than I had anticipated. Surprisingly so. I kind of feel like I'm not their target demographic with this museum, but it's still really cool to see. All right, now we're getting into much more familiar territory for me. Here we have some toys from, it looks like the 70s and 80s. Spider-Man, Superman, Captain America, Wonder Woman, and the Justice League in its entirety, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I still have this Robo Turtle, whatever it's called. I have a figure that I found in a junk box at home right now, actually. I don't recognize Genghis Frog, though. Seems like a pretty cool character. I think I should remember him if he's real. I was watching a channel called Toy Galaxy here on YouTube just the other day, and they were talking about this line of toys, the Mask line, and I have to say, I loved these toys growing up. I didn't own very many. I think I owned the little robot guy. But what a weird set of toys. I mean, they had a race car that turned into a helicopter. I think a helicopter that turned into a jet. It's really bizarre stuff. But that's what kids in my age were into. Cars and trucks have always been a popular toy. And I think they always will be, whether it's Hot Wheels, Matchbox, or just about anybody else who makes them. It's always nice to see them well represented in a collection like these. Now, Bugs Bunny, Looney Tunes, Yosemite Sam, all those guys, still fairly popular to some extent today. But definitely not the way they were. I feel like the Space Jam era was the true end of the Looney Tunes reign. And I still love them, even to this day. And of course, this was after my time. Never got into it, but the Power Rangers, I know a lot of you guys at home are going to enjoy seeing this collection. Never really got too much into it, never seen the reboot. But I hope some of you out there did. More recent toys, including different variations of the X-Men. Magneto over here in the corner. Some X-Force toys. Rambo toys. And then this nice collection of Lord of the Rings figures, which on some level in my mind feels like it's not old enough to be in a museum, but it's been quite a while since these movies came out. They're just still fresh in my mind. Very popular when I was a kid. He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. One of these has to be the Battle Damage He-Man. The one where if you push it in on the chest, it gets battle damaged. It's got to be here. That was my favorite He-Man toy. Also the only one I ever owned. I love seeing this here. Some of these retro video games systems. I feel like there should be an entire retro video game arcade, but not just some of the toys and some of the gaming systems like the Atari 2600 and the NES, but even some of these rare collectibles. Donkey Kong Jr. figure, these Pac-Man cups and thermoses, Super Mario Brothers thermos, and these Pac-Man figures along the side. Man, if I was a collector, I would collect all of that, even going back to some of these very old school football and baseball style machines that I had leftovers from my brother growing up. Yet another product of a bygone era. The Flintstones. I mean, obviously we saw the Flintstones vehicle earlier in a different Branson's video, the remake, but I feel like most people just don't remember them. Or, while we're at it, Alvin and the Chipmunks. Dennis the Menace. And I know I'm really dating myself when I say, Alf, to this day, still one of my favorite shows. Though he eats cats, dude. You know, I love seeing this here. If I think of classic fighting toys, or classic toys in general, I don't think there's much more classic than Rock'em, Sock'em, Robots. There's another really hot item that's really not around anymore, and that is the Cabbage Patch Dolls. Not something I was into growing up, of course, but they did spawn the parody Garbage Pail Kids, which I'm not afraid to admit I still collect to this day. I also feel like these made a resurgence recently. Every girl I knew wanted to have a collection of these, and many of them did. And that's the Troll Dolls. Saying they were started in 1959, but they were still popular in the 80s and 90s as well. And getting towards the end of the museum now. Having skipped over quite a bit, but I did want to show you kids from just a little past my era. SpongeBob is represented here as well, as he should be. Alright guys, that's going to do it for this video. I hope you enjoyed the tour. If you're in the Branson area, I hope you do come check this place out. I left plenty that I was not able to cover in this video, and I hope you come check it out. And if you did watch this video, I do hope you got some memories from it like I did. Do me a favor, if you enjoyed it, hit subscribe down below, hit that notification bell if you're already subscribed, leave a comment, let me know what you guys thought, And until next video, guys, thanks for watching. I love you very much. And I'll speak with you again soon.